Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more transfer rumours and gossip. So lots to negotiate on this video today, but just going to give you the breaking news that has currently come out today, that currently Tottenham have confirmed the signing of Tanguy Ndombele from Lyon. I think they've got him for around 60 million euros, which does equate to around 53.8 million in pound sterling and all that. Tanguy Ndombele has signed a deal with Tottenham until 2025, but reports do say that the fee could potentially rise up to around 70 million euros, which does equate to around 62 million in pound sterling and all that. I think Manchester United were in for Tanguy Ndombele. Some people said Manchester United of course were never in for him and all that. He did serve a couple of years with Lyon, did Tanguy Ndombele, and I think he made about 96 appearances in all competitions and all that. I do believe this is currently Tottenham's second signing of the summer, because I think Tottenham did confirm the signing of Jack Clarke yesterday from Leeds United, but I did say Tottenham of course want to do transfer business this summer, and actually Jack Clarke was Tottenham's first signing since January 2018, of course when Tottenham did sign Lucas Moura and all that. So they have confirmed the signing of Tanguy Ndombele. I think they have paid a club record fee for him, because obviously their most expensive signing was before they got Tanguy Ndombele made official was Davinson Sanchez from Ajax back in 2017, who of course Tottenham paid £42 million for and all that. So Tottenham have confirmed the signing of Tanguy Ndombele. So we'll give you some additional information in regards to Harry Maguire. I updated you about this earlier on today and all that. I've just basically been asleep and all that. I've just looked up a bit more of the news. This was stemming from Sky Sports today. They were saying that Manchester United had upped their bid for Harry Maguire. Reportedly we put around £70 million bidding for him and all that. Probably more than likely, this figure's not going to be enough, for Leicester, to currently offload him, because I think Leicester have notified Manchester United, they're wanting the region of around 80 or 90 million pounds and all that. Obviously we do know it's been Manchester United and Manchester City that have been battling out for his services. So, but basically Sky Sports we're basically saying that both Manchester clubs have held talks with Leicester in several weeks and all that, but obviously no fee has yet come to an agreement. I think Manchester City are reluctant to pay up to 80 million pounds for his services, and I think City are only willing to pay up to around 65 million pounds for his services. So reports were saying we are in our pole position to sign Harry Maguire. I don't think Leicester are in any rush to currently offload him, because obviously Leicester do know how much of an essential player he is, and Leicester basically are reluctant to offload him. This is the main factor reason why Leicester have priced him out of the transfer market and all that, and this is why they are demanding an extortionate amount. But there's been a lot of talks about Harry Maguire going on at least for the last couple of weeks and all that. Reports were stemming out towards the back end of last week, saying that reportedly we'd withdrawn our interest allegedly, because reportedly Leicester informed Manchester United that they wanted around 90 million, around 100 million pounds. It did say they wanted 90 million up front with 10 million in add-ons of course. So potentially he did say Manchester United had ended their interest, but we do know that we need a central defender. Obviously that's one of our priorities, and we do need world-class central defender, because we haven't had one since we had the likes of Vidic, and of course since we had the likes of Ferdinand, and we do need someone that can go alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line. But I think Harry Maguire's physical attributes are really good. I think he's really good in the air. He hasn't really got a lot of pace, but his dribbling's really good. He shows that ability to play out from the back, but I just don't think he's worth 80 or 90 million pounds. Of course if we were to get him for around 80 or 90 million pounds, obviously he'd making the most expensive defender in world football, ahead of Liverpool's Virgil van Dijk, who of course Liverpool paid 75 million pounds for and all that. But Harry Maguire of course is proven in the Premier League, and obviously I think he does actually want to leave Leicester, because obviously he wants to rejuvenate his career and all that, and I think he's keen on going to one of the top six sides and all that, because obviously he wants to be at a competitive elite level football club. Does Harry Maguire wants to be in Champions League football and all that. Obviously we do know Manchester United cannot offer Harry Maguire this for next season and all that, but I think if we can outbid Manchester City for his services, we have got a good chance of currently getting him. But I was reading a lot of reports last week, and it did say Manchester City were set to sign him for a real record fee of around £80 million, and he did allegedly say Manchester City, were willing to offer him around 280 grand a week. But I think it did say that negotiations had hit a stumbling block, between Manchester City and Leicester, reflecting on the huge fee that Leicester are demanding, because City are not willing to pay up to £80 million for his services. Obviously, we do know Manchester City are seeing, Harry Maguire as a replacement for Vincent Kompany, because obviously Vincent Kompany left Manchester City after serving 11 years with them and all that. So yeah, so there's the saga about Harry Maguire, does still continue. Like I said, he's been at Leicester a couple of seasons. I think he's made 76 appearances for Leicester in all competitions. Obviously, 69 of those appearances have come in the Premier League. He signed a new long-term contract with Leicester last summer, so he's under contract with them until 2023 and all that. Obviously, like I said, he's been at Leicester a couple of years. Obviously, Leicester did pay around £17 million for his services from Hull City a couple of years ago and all that. I think he did serve a couple of years with Hull. Obviously, he's a youngster, he began his career with Sheffield United. He is 26 years of age, is Harry Maguire, so he has still got a hell of a lot of development in him. But I do believe, he would be a fantastic, signing for Manchester United if he was to come in. Maybe some Manchester United fans, wouldn't be keen on, recommending, Harry Maguire in. Plus, he's British, and obviously, there's been quite a lot of British players on our agenda this summer, because I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, does want to recruit British talents to Manchester United. Obviously, so far this summer, we have got 2 players on the board. Obviously, they are our first 2 signings under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. Daniel James, £18 million. He's obviously British. I maybe don't think Daniel James, will get straight into the first team. I don't think he'll get in the first team straight away. Obviously, we've got Wan-Bissaka. We've got Wan-Bissaka, as he did confirm over the weekend in a deal worth around £50 million. He'll obviously get straight into the first team and all that. So the 2 players we bought so far, it's took Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's net spend up to around £68 million so far in total this summer and all that. But Solskjaer did blatantly made it clear, he wants to bring at least 5 new additions to the squad. But I think maybe the club now need to orchestrate on selling players, to help us generate funds and rebuild the squad and all that. Because I think we've only reportedly been given £100 million to spend, and obviously the vast majority of that has obviously been put on Wan-Bissaka. So he did say we're being given £100 million to spend. He did provide a reason, because obviously we're not in a Champions League football for next season. But I thought initially we're being given around £200 million to spend. But we do know £100 million is not enough, to address the deficiencies in the squad. Obviously, isn't enough for us, to get the number of players that we do want in. So I think the club need to orchestrate on, selling players, to help us generate funds and rebuild the squad and all that. But now I do believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's priorities now will be to recommend a central defender in, and he'll also, want to add a couple of new additions in that midfield and all that. But like I said, there's been a lot of talks going on about Harry Maguire today. Reportedly, we've lodged a £70 million bidding for him. Obviously, Leicester have currently turned this down, because this is too insufficient for Leicester, and Leicester are looking for somewhere in the region of around 80 or 90 million pounds. Whether Manchester United will be willing to pay this or not, I do not know. I'd say £70 million, in this market at this day and age, would be reasonable, for Harry Maguire. But I think over £70 million, to be quite honest, he's asking for too much, to be quite honest. But I think Harry Maguire is keen on leaving Leicester, but Leicester looking at ultimately, don't want to lose him. This is why, of course, they are demanding an extortionate amount. So there has been so many central defenders on our agenda. A vast majority of Manchester United fans have probably said, we need 2 central defenders and all that, because we've got the likes of Smalling and Jones. They're no longer good enough to represent Manchester United. Obviously, Smalling and Jones, have been 2 long-serving players at the club. Smalling's been here 9 years, of course. Jones, that's been here 8 years. But it was bad business for Manchester United, giving them 2 new long-term contracts. Obviously, Rojo's still here, but I presume Rojo will be going. Damian's still here, but I presume, Damian and Rojo will be both going. So I think we can generate around 25 or 30 million pounds for their departures. So probably we do need 2 central defenders. But like I say, Koulibaly is obviously been on our agenda, for a very, very long time. But obviously, reflecting back last summer, our priority, was to get a central defender in. But obviously, reflecting back last summer, obviously, the board weren't back in the signings that Jose Mourinho wanted to recommend in. And obviously, one of the players that Jose Mourinho wanted last summer, of course, was Harry Maguire. But obviously, I think Leicester were demanding that they wanted around £70 million for him last summer. Obviously, the rumours have continued to persist about Koulibaly since last summer, because again, he was one of the players, that Jose Mourinho, wanted. But I don't think Napoli are willing to offload Koulibaly and all that. And I don't think he'll come to Manchester United, Koulibaly, if I'm going to to be quite honest with you. Obviously, Napoli are demanding an extortionate amount for him and all that, but I don't see him, coming out to Manchester United, even though he would improve his defensively, if he was to come in. Obviously, Koulibaly's not yet, played in the Premier League. Obviously, he's been in Italy, 5 years there with Napoli. I think Napoli have confirmed the signing of Manolas, if I'm right, but I think probably Koulibaly, will end up staying at Napoli, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. Obviously, there were talks of Raphael Varane at one point. I don't think there was a lot of credibility, about Raphael Varane to Manchester United, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. Obviously, it did confirm a while back, he's going to be staying at Real Madrid. A lot of people still talking about Toby Alderweireld from Tottenham, and looking at it from a financial point of view, Toby Alderweireld, is available for a reasonable figure and all that. He's available for £25 million this summer, but I don't think it's initially in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plan, to recommend Alderweireld in. Obviously, Manchester United were in for him last summer and all that, but it's more than likely he's going to be leaving Tottenham based on his refusal to sign a new contract and all that. But yeah, he's a cheap alternative, is Alderweireld. He's proven in the Premier League. He's been at Tottenham about 4 years, and he would be a great upgrade of already what we've got in our current defence and all that, but I don't think Manchester United, of course, are willing to go in for him. There's been a lot more talks going on about Issa Diop from West Ham. I do believe now he's one of our priority targets, is Issa Diop. I think Manchester United are set to make our first. We're set to make our first formal offer, for Issa Diop, even though reports did suggest out last month saying that, we had allegedly, had made a player plus cash offer to West Ham, so it did say we'd offered around £45 million, plus we offered Phil Jones as part of a deal for Issa Diop, but it allegedly said that West Ham had instantly turned this down. But I think now, based on that, we've had this £70 million bid turned down for Harry Maguire. I think we are set to step up our interest in Issa Diop. I think, West Ham said they do want at least around £60 million if they're willing to offload him. Probably would be a cheaper solution than Harry Maguire. Obviously would be a cheaper solution than Koulibaly and all that. Obviously, Issa Diop has had a year of experience under his belt in the Premier League. Obviously, it was his debut season in the Premier League last season with West Ham. I think he played around 33 games for West Ham last season. I think he played about 38 games in all competitions. He is only 22 years of age. I think he's 6'4", so he's very, very tall. Is Issa Diop, so I do presume he's very good in the air. I think he's a very, very good athlete and all that. West Ham did pay around £22 million for his services last summer, and I do believe he's still got 4 years left on his deal with West Ham. But yeah, I think West Ham do want at least around £60 million. Did allegedly say earlier the other week that West Ham were demanding Anthony Martial in exchange for Issa Diop and all that. But obviously, Manchester United are not willing to go along with this. So I do think now, we're tracking Issa Diop, and we're also, tracking Harry Maguire from Leicester. But yeah, like I said, we've got to get a world-class central defender. And like I said, it's very, very essential that we do get our number one targets this summer, because we need to see vast improvements, of course, going on into this season. Because last season was disappointing. We finished 6th, and of course, where we didn't win many silverware and all that, so we need to see vast improvements going on into this season. And look, we have got problems defensively, and that was proven last season. We conceded 54 goals in the Premier League last season in 38 Premier League games. That's our highest total, of course, in 40 years. So you can just see the issues, of course, we have got defensively. But yeah, we've got to get our number one targets this summer. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has worked out his transfer strategy. He says he wants to develop a squad of young, hungry, homegrown talent and all that. And I do believe, Solskjaer believes he's following a policy, that proved successful under Alex Ferguson. And I think we are actually moving away from the policy, of signing them well-established players. Probably do expect around 4 or 5 players to depart the club this summer. Like I said, we know Valencia's left the club. Obviously, we've got the adequate replacement for him, with Wan-Bissaka. Obviously, we do know Herrera's left on a free transfer. Obviously, it's looking in that Diamond and Rojo, of course, are going to be leaving. I presume now probably David De Gea is going to be staying. We do now know that Juan Mata, of course, is going to be staying. But like I said earlier on in the video, I think the club have got to orchestrate on selling players to help us generate funds and all that. But I think we've got to get rid of the deadwood. So we've basically got to get our number one priority targets and all that. So, as I've been updating you on a regular basis in regards to Bruno Fernandes and Sean Longstaff and all that, now, who's going to be the third sign? Is it going to be Bruno Fernandes from Sporting Lisbon, or is it going to be, Sean Longstaff from Newcastle? Now, there's been a lot of talks, going on about Sean Longstaff and all that, but I do believe if he comes to Manchester United, I think he probably would succeed at Manchester United, to be quite honest with you. Probably wouldn't get, straight into the first team, where Sean Longstaff, obviously, only made his debut, last season was only his first season in the senior squad. squad with Newcastle. Obviously, made his debut in December of last year and all that. And I think he thrived under Rafa Benitez's guidance last season and all that. He is available for a reasonable figure, is Sean Longstaff. Obviously, he's a cheaper solution than Bruno Fernandes. But I think, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say, he wants Manchester United to get a deal secured for Sean Longstaff sometime this week. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has confirmed that he wants us to, confirm, he wants us to get, one signing on the board at least, before we do go on pre-season tour in Australia and all that. But I did tell my video yesterday, I hope, we can, get 2 deals concluded this week and all that. But with Sean Longstaff, I think reportedly Newcastle have said, they want around £20 million, including add-ons, and I think he's initially valued by at around 25 or 30 million pounds. He did say we are putting our first offer in for Sean Longstaff, and I think we're willing to offer in the region of around 15 million pounds. I think with add-ons included. But I think we have been given a boost in our pursuit of Sean Longstaff following the departure of Rafa Benitez. He's still under contract with Newcastle until 2022. Sean Longstaff, of course, he's only had 21 years of age and all that. Obviously, began his career with Newcastle. I think he also had loan spells, with Kilmarnock and Blackpool. But I think Manchester United are set to hold more extensive talks with Newcastle over coming to an agreement on a fee and all that. So I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer just basically instructed Manchester United, to meet what Newcastle are demanding. Maybe some people are saying, we should sign Bruno Fernandes, before, we currently sign Sean Longstaff and all that, because obviously Bruno Fernandes is more experienced. Obviously, if Bruno Fernandes does come to Manchester United and all that, obviously he will get straight into the first team and all that. Allegedly, reports were saying yesterday, as he updated you on, saying that, some people say it's not reliable enough as yet, but he did allegedly say, I think from the Sun and all that reportedly Manchester United have reached an agreement, with Sporting Lisbon for Bruno Fernandes, and it did reportedly say now that Manchester United have held a negotiation with Bruno Fernandes' representatives, and it does reportedly say Manchester United have agreed personal terms with Bruno Fernandes and all that. So the personal terms have been agreed, but obviously a fee has not yet come to an agreement, so the fee is actually the stumbling block at the moment. I think reportedly Sporting Lisbon have said they want in the region of around 55 million pounds. He did allegedly say we'd offered around 35 million euros for Bruno Fernandes. Obviously that equates to around 31 million in pounds sterling. But obviously this 31 million pound bid we'd put in, obviously had been turned down by Sporting Lisbon because obviously this is too insufficient for Sporting Lisbon. So initially we was planning to sign Bruno Fernandes for around 23 million pound less than what Sporting Lisbon are currently demanding and all that. Did obviously confirm last week that we'd held negotiations with Bruno Fernandes' agent and all that over getting a deal concluded. But obviously Bruno Fernandes has been one of our main priority targets, and I think it's very, very essential that we do get a deal over the line for him. Obviously reflecting back, was it 6 or 7 weeks ago, it was looking very, very likely that Manchester City were going to get a deal concluded for Bruno Fernandes, but it obviously confirmed City have withdrawn their interest and no longer in the race. But I do believe now, according to recent reports, that it is only Manchester United now that are in the running for Bruno Fernandes, because Tottenham and Liverpool have both withdrawn their interest. Came out a couple of weeks ago saying that Liverpool had put a bid in of around 45 million euros. Obviously that equates to around 40 million in pounds sterling and all that. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does want to get this deal secured for Bruno Fernandes, because reports came out last week saying that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer instructed Ed Woodward to speed up a deal for Bruno Fernandes. Solskjaer did say he wanted the deal for Bruno Fernandes completed on the 1st of July, which was obviously yesterday and all that. But he did say last month he wanted the majority of our transfer business completed by the beginning of this month and all that. This is what basically Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said. But yeah, the Bruno Fernandes saga, does currently continue. He's being subjected to a hell of a lot of transfer speculation. But I'm still very, very convinced, we can't get this deal over the line for him. Like I said, he's only 24 years of age. He is primarily an attacking midfielder. Obviously, primarily an attacking midfielder. Under contract still with Sporting Lisbon until 2023. So obviously, still got 4 years left on his deal. But I think Bruno Fernandes, is actually keen on making a move to Manchester United. He's keen on making a move to Manchester United is Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, he's attracted to the history and mystique of Manchester United, and for him coming to Manchester United, he believes it will be beneficial for his career and all that. But it's very, very imperative, that we do get this deal over the line and all that. yeah, it's very imperative that we do get this deal over the line. But Bruno Fernandes has been at Sporting. There's been a couple of seasons. If he comes to Manchester United, he brings them goals that we need in that midfield. He rejuvenate the team. He can create chances as well. He's really good at providing assists and all that. Obviously, when he was younger, he spent the majority of his career in Italy. The likes of Sampdoria and underneath and all that. I think he also played for Novria. Did Bruno Fernandes, but he's been subject to a lot of transfer speculation. But I think at least in the last couple of weeks, we have been considered the favourites, to currently sign Bruno Fernandes. But reportedly Sporting Lisbon have said, they want around £55 million and all that. But I don't. Maybe Bruno Fernandes' move to Manchester United isn't dependent on what happens with Paul Pogba. But I still think we need to sell players, to help us generate funds and of course rebuild the squad. So I think Bruno Fernandes, would be a good adequate replacement for Paul Pogba and all that. But I think if we sell Pogba, if we sell Romelu Lukaku, I think it will help us, generate funds, obviously, and rebuild the squad. And it also will help us with our rebuilding process, and it will help us with our transition. Because if we can sell Pogba and Lukaku, and obviously the duo obviously are relentlessly, linked to a move away from the club, I think we can, generate around £200 million for their departures. Obviously, Pogba and Lukaku are our two most expensive signings and all that. Pogba's our most expensive signing, we paid £89 million for. Obviously, Lukaku's our second most expensive player, who of course we paid £75 million for and all that. But Bruno Fernandes, like I said, would be a fantastic replacement for Paul Pogba. But I think now we do need to add reinforcements in that midfield without a shadow of a doubt. Maybe I think the vast majority of Manchester United fans, would like to see, James Maddison, come in from Leicester and all that. And I like James Maddison a lot. Again, British, only 22 years of age. I think he's primarily an attacking midfielder. Obviously, a lot of stories are coming out about this about 3 or 4 weeks ago and all that. And he did potentially say, we emerged James Maddison as a priority target. And he did say, we'd made initial contact. He did say if Leicester were willing to sell James Maddison, they would want in the excess of around £60 million. He did allegedly say that James Maddison is interested, in making the move to Manchester United. But, he demonstrated last season, in his first season in the Premier League with Leicester, that he can create chances, that he can score goals, he can provide them and all that. Because he did create, I think he created the most chances last season in the Premier League, did James Maddison. I think, he created a lot of chances and all that. Obviously, Leicester did get him last summer from Norwich for around £20 million. Obviously, initially signed a 5-year deal with Leicester, but he's got 4 years now remaining on his deal with Leicester. And last season, I think he played 36 games in the Premier League, scored 7 goals, like I said, and provided 7 assists. But he did have 2 good seasons in the Championship with Norwich. I think he also had a loan spell in Scotland with Aberdeen. Obviously, quite a few teams have been tracking him, since he was a teenager at Coventry. Because that's obviously where he began his career, and he was the product of Coventry's academy. Where was James Maddison. But I do like James Maddison a lot. Again, I think he would be a fantastic replacement for Paul Pogba. Talking about Youri Tielemans, probably quite a few Manchester United fans, would like to see Youri Tielemans come in. Obviously, Leicester have been in talks of getting Youri Tielemans on a permanent deal. Obviously, initially, he had been on loan with Leicester, since January. Youri Tielemans, obviously, he's had around 5 or 6 months experience under his belt in the Premier League. Obviously now has returned to Monaco, but I think Youri Tielemans did confirm he will not be staying with Monaco next season. But Leicester have been in talks of getting him on a permanent deal and all that. But yeah, I think he's available for a reasonable figure. And quite a few people said we should be sensible with our recruitment this summer and all that. But yeah, this is what he's basically said. I think Monaco do rate him at around £40 million. He is under contract with Monaco until 2022 and all that. I think also Tottenham have inquired about his services. Also, Manchester City, of course, have been in there, for Youri Tielemans and all. I think at one point Arsenal had inquired about his services, but he's only 22 years of age. I think initially Monaco did get him in 2017 for around was it around £21 million, something like that, and they did get him from Anderlecht. And I think at that point, when he was at Anderlecht as a teenager, Manchester United of course were tracking him then. But Youri Tielemans' move to Manchester United, could be dependent on what happens with Paul Pogba and all that. So we definitely need 2 new additions in that midfield. I think we need a replacement for Paul Pogba if he goes. We definitely need an adequate replacement for Ander Herrera and all that. Obviously, I think also Adrian Rabiot, who was on Manchester United's agenda, obviously he's out of the equation now because I think he's gone to Juventus and all that, for the Champions League football. Like I said, De Ligt's obviously going to Juventus and all that. That's confirmed. That was one of our main priority targets at one point. Matisse De Ligt. Like I said at the beginning of the video, now Tanguy Ndombele. I do believe Manchester United, were in for him and all that, but obviously now Tottenham have signed him. Obviously they've paid a club record fee for him. They've got him for around 60 million euros, which equates to around 53 million, of course, in pound sterling and all that. He's signed, I think he must have signed around a 6-year deal with Tottenham because he signed the deal with them until 2025. Like currently said. So probably some people believe wasn't even in for Tanguy Ndombele, but obviously now he's out of the equation. Like I said, that's Tottenham's second sign this summer because obviously they got Jack Clark from Leeds yesterday, which I didn't know about until today. I read it up about Jack Clark going to Tottenham and all that. But yeah, there's still lots to address in the squad, and like I said, I think our expectations, going on into this season, probably will be to finish in the top 5. I don't think our expectations, going into this season, will be to win the league or transfer the league because I do think, at least a couple of years off currently, doing that. I think at the moment City strides ahead of us, obviously, Liverpool and that strides ahead of us, and it's very imperative that we catch up with the likes of Manchester City and Liverpool. But I do believe in the next couple of seasons, if I'm going to be quite honest with you, our aspirations is going to be that top 4. But like I said, a hell of a lot of money has been invested into the club, since Alex Ferguson retired. We've had different managers with different philosophies. A hell of a lot of money's been invested into the club. Players have come in, and of course, players have gone and all that. So looking at analysing it, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is still in the process of rebuilding. But we do know we've been a toxic club for the last 5 or 6 years, and the main factor reason why we have been a toxic club is because obviously we've been mismanaged, and this is the main factor reason, of course, why we have been underachieving and all that. Like I said, we may have been a toxic club for the last 5 or 6 years, but we are still one of the biggest clubs in the world. We've got an static stadium. Obviously, we've got a fantastic fan base. We're the most successful team in England, historically and all that. So we are still one of the biggest clubs in the world and all that. So players, still may want to come to Manchester United. But like I said, we have been playing catch-up for the last 5 or 6 years. But, we haven't won much silverware, since Alex Ferguson retired. We didn't win out under David Moyes era. We won the FA Cup under Louis van Gaal era. Won the Europa League and League Cup under Jose Mourinho. Obviously, that came in Jose Mourinho's first season and all that. A lot of money was spent under Jose Mourinho era. He bought 11 players and spent just under £400 million and all that. So, looking at ultimately the majority of this squad, obviously, is in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. Obviously, the only players that are Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's at the moment who he's bought are obviously Daniel James from Swansea and Wan-Bissaka, of course, from Crystal Palace. But like I said, obviously he's going to want to currently build on that, and I hope it works out under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I hope he can take Manchester United forward, and I hope to say that he has got the stature to get us in that commanding position, of course, where we do currently want to be, because he knows the culture of the club. He knows the culture of the club. He knows the club inside out. He was a great player for 11 years under Alex Ferguson. Don't forget. And I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is actually following Alex Ferguson's philosophy and all that. But I hope it does work out under him. So I presume the club maybe need to give him at least a year or maybe even 2 years, to see how it currently works out. Because obviously, we haven't got the structure, to keep sacking managers and all that. Because we've already sat 3, since Alex Ferguson retired. But we just want to be back, to be in a competitively elite level football club, and obviously, that's very, very essential. I've been hearing people, talking about Wissam Ben Yedder from Sevilla. Now, obviously, we are seeing him as a replacement for Romelu Lukaku and all that. Obviously, maybe some people are saying, there isn't a lot of credibility, in Wissam Ben Yedder to Manchester United. Even though I was reading reports up about the story the other day, and it did reportedly say, Manchester United were in for him, and it did say, well, it allegedly said, we have agreed personal terms for Wissam Ben Yedder. I think, like I did say, Wissam Ben Yedder coming to Manchester United is probably, is probably dependent on, what happens with Romelu Lukaku. Obviously, allegedly, Wissam Ben Yedder did say, he's keen on making a move to Manchester United and all that. Obviously, Wissam Ben Yedder served 3 years with Sevilla. He's 28 years of age. I think his goal scoring pedigree is supposed to be very, very, very good, because I think last season for Sevilla, I think he scored about 30 goals and provided 11 assists in 54 games in all competitions last season. He's still got 2 years remaining on his contract with Sevilla and all that. I think Sevilla did get him from Toulouse, back in 2016 for around £9 million. But he does say, Manchester United are interested, but I think we're only willing to go in for him, of course, if Romelu Lukaku does depart the club. I think he's got an initial release clause of around £36 million as Wissam Ben Yedder. But yeah, there has been a lot of talks about him. He did say PSG and Barcelona were interested in him, but he did allegedly say, he favours a move to Manchester United and all that. But probably, I don't believe there is a lot of credibility in it, and probably some Manchester United fans are very sceptical, about him, coming to the club. Even if Lukaku does leave the club, maybe some Manchester United fans, don't think, Wiz and Ben Yedder to Manchester United, will currently happen. Even though it does say, we have currently been in for him and all that. But I think his goal scoring pedigree is supposed to be very, very good. I think he's technically a very, very good footballer, and I do believe if he did come to Manchester United, he would bring his them goals, that we do currently need. But there has been quite a few players on our agenda, who could replace Romelu Lukaku at the football club. Because we do know that Romelu Lukaku has been relentlessly, linked to a move to Inter Milan and all that. Obviously, I was reading a lot of reports about it the other week. Obviously, it did confirm, was it last Tuesday, that Lukaku's agent had been in Milan. He had been in Milan at Lukaku's agent, and he'd been holding negotiations with Inter Milan and all that. Because I think Lukaku's agent, he's doing everything, he currently can, to try and get Lukaku's move to Inter Milan completed. Because I think Lukaku's agent does believe that Lukaku wants to leave Manchester United, and he believes that, Inter Milan, of course, are still trying to sign him. But Inter Milan are obviously, willing to offload a couple of their players, to help them generate funds, to meet that £75 million valuation. Because obviously, we've said we want around £75 million for Romelu Lukaku. So basically, we're looking to recoup the money that we did pay for him from Everton, back in 2017, because obviously we got him for around £75 million. Obviously, there were several add-ons including the deal, which initially was up to around £90 million, and Lukaku's still got 3 years left on his contract, and he's on around 250 grand a week with Manchester United and all that. So Inter Milan are trying to basically, generate funds. It does say everything's been agreed, between Inter Milan and Romelu Lukaku, except the fee. It did say, Lukaku's agreed personal terms with Inter Milan. It also said, Lukaku has agreed a deal with Inter Milan worth around £180,000 a week and all that. And obviously, Antonio Conte has identified Romelu Lukaku as his number one target. Obviously, reflecting back a couple of years ago, Antonio Conte wanted Romelu Lukaku, when he was manager of Chelsea, but obviously, he ended up coming to Manchester United. But I think Lukaku recently described Antonio Conte as one of the best managers in the world. Obviously, Romelu Lukaku, does want to play under Antonio Conte's guidance, because probably he believes he'll flourish under Antonio Conte's guidance and all that. But I was reading reports, last week, and this was coming from Sky in Italy. They said Inter Milan, were willing to pay around a £9 million loan fee, to take Lukaku out on loan for the next 2 seasons. With then the obligation to buy at the end of the loan for a further £54 million. Obviously, that amounts up to around £63 million in total. But I think obviously, Manchester United, will reject this and all that, because obviously I don't think we're willing to let Lukaku go out on loan. I think we're only willing to let him go out on a permanent deal and all that. But yeah, Inter Milan have obviously tried to generate funds to meet that £75 million valuation. Lukaku's been at Manchester United 2 years. He has scored around 42 goals in 96 matches in all competitions. He's I've got reservations about him, but his goal scoring pedigree is still very, very good in the Premier League. His ratio, and that's very, very good. He's been at the club 2 years. He was really, really good in his first season as Romelu Lukaku. He was exceptional in his first season, but hasn't really replicated. He didn't really replicate that in his second season with Manchester United, because since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been recommended in. Obviously, Lukaku has found himself surplus to requirements, because we do know that Marcus Rashford has obviously been first choice ahead of Romelu Lukaku, and obviously Lukaku is reluctant to play up a backup role to Marcus Rashford. But Lukaku's still 26. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him and all that. Obviously, we do know that Inter Milan have obviously tried offering us Mario Cardi in exchange for Romelu Lukaku. Also, they've tried offering us Ivan Perisic plus cash as part of the deal for Romelu Lukaku. But obviously, we do know Manchester United to turn this down, because obviously Ivan Perisic is no longer, of course, our Manchester United target. Like currently said. But yeah, he's been heavily linked to move to Inter Milan as Lukaku, and we need to get rid of him basically, because he's one of the problematic players now. Obviously, isn't first choice anymore, so I think we've potentially got to get rid of Romelu Lukaku. But we did say a couple of weeks ago, we told him that he can leave the club, and even Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has confirmed that Romelu Lukaku, is now surplus to requirements at Manchester United. Obviously, as I have been saying, about Paul Pogba as well. Obviously, he's been relentlessly, linked to a move away from the club. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Paul Pogba are set to hold talks sometime this week. Obviously, regarding Paul Pogba's future and all that. I was reading reports last week, and it did say, Paul Pogba will ask Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, to currently let him leave and all that. It did say Paul Pogba was willing to make a personal plea to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, to allow, Paul Pogba to leave the football club. Paul Pogba did confirm last month, that he's seeking for a new challenge. Obviously, he publicly admitted, that he does want to leave Manchester United and all that. And like I did say, the couple of main factor reasons why he probably wants to leave the club, because maybe he wants to be playing amongst better players, and he isn't playing amongst good enough players at Manchester United. Probably wants to rejuvenate his career, wants to be in Champions League football and all that, and wants to be competing and winning stuff. And obviously, he isn't experiencing this at Manchester United, where Paul Pogba. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is doing everything he can, to try and convince him to remain at the football club, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is working on, keeping his imperative players at the football club. I think it was initially in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans, to actually, build a side around Paul Pogba and all that. He even did say last month that Paul Pogba was even willing to go on strike, to force a move away from Manchester United and all that. But we do know he's been relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid and Juventus. Obviously, it is Real Madrid and Juventus, of course, that are battling out for his services. We do know for quite some time that Paul Pogba's first choice preference has been Real Madrid. We do obviously know that his likely destination has been Real Madrid, but there has been a change of scenery about this, at least in the last couple of weeks, because obviously now Juventus are interested in re-signing him. They've stepped up their interest, and it does say, Juventus have been in negotiations with Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola. Like I did say, Juventus are doing good business so far in this transfer window. Like I said, they've got the lit on the board. Obviously, they've got Adrian Rabiot on that on the board. They've obviously already got Aaron Ramsey in that on the board. So maybe more than likely, Juventus would have to offload at least probably one or two of their essential players to fund the move for Paul Pogba and all that. Because I just don't believe, they'd be able to afford him outright. Obviously, we've put a huge transfer fee on Paul Pogba, and we've indicated that he's not for sale. But, he did say, we would accept a bid in the region of around £150 million to him, of course. Obviously, this £150 million figure is a figure, of course, that Real Madrid, are, of course, are reluctant, to meet. But the Juventus director, recently said, about, he was explaining of how much, Juventus, do love Paul Pogba and all that, because he did have 4 good years in cheering, did Paul Pogba, but, he didn't, he hasn't really replicated this form since he did make the return to Manchester United and all that, but did have 4 fantastic years in cheering, did Paul Pogba, and I think he did say, he's open, to making the return back to cheering and all that. Obviously confirmed a couple of weeks ago that the Juventus director, had held negotiations with Manchester United over the possibility of re-signing Paul Pogba and all that. But I still believe that Real Madrid are definitely in for him. Obviously, Real Madrid so far this summer have got 5 players on the board. I think they've spent over £300 million. I think also Christian Eriksen is on Real Madrid's agenda. And looking at it, probably... Christian Eriksen, would be a cheaper solution for Real Madrid than Paul Pogba and all that. But I still think, they're doing everything they can, to try and sign Paul Pogba at Real Madrid. Paul Pogba did confirm a while back at some point in his career, he does want to play for Real Madrid, and he was classifying Real Madrid as one of the biggest clubs in the world and all that. But Real Madrid did say, they will offer us Gareth Bale as part of the deal for Paul Pogba. He also said the other day they was even willing to offer us Isco as part of the deal for Paul Pogba and all that, because Real Madrid are not keen on a straight cash payment. Paul Pogba, of course, has still got 2 years left on his current deal with the club, with an option to extend it by a further year. Obviously, he's on around £290,000 a week. Obviously, came out the other week saying that we was willing to offer Paul Pogba a long-term contract, worth up to around £500,000 a week and all that. But we do know Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, at least in the last couple of months, has been in the process of finding him a new club. But Paul Pogba was subject to a lot of transfer speculation last year, based on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho. There was talks about him going to Juventus last year. There was also talks about him, going out to Barcelona, back in January and all that. So yeah, being subject to a hell of a lot of transfer speculation. Obviously, Paul Pogba with the club has won the Europa League and the League Cup and all that. And we have seen glimpses of Paul Pogba's best form, and we mainly saw it in that 3-month period when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was their interim manager, because Paul Pogba was in sin scintillating form. He was getting freed up by Ander Herrera, so that just emphasises how much of an impact Ander Herrera made and all that. But I think Paul Pogba last season, scored 16 goals and provided 11 assists in 47 matches for Manchester United in all competitions. So he did still, do really really, really well. But yeah, like I said, I think it's tomorrow. I think that Paul Pogba is set to hold negotiations over Ole Gunnar Solskjaer over his future and all that. But Paul Pogba's blatantly made it clear, that he does want to leave Manchester United and all that. So if he does go, obviously, we're definitely not going to need a replacement for him. So I think Bruno Fernandes, would be the adequate replacement without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah. So, yeah, that's mainly everything to update you with. But like I said, the main part of this video, was to give you more additional information in regards to Harry Maguire and all that. We have had this £70 million bid turned down and all that. Like I said, Sky Sports have mentioned that both Manchester United and Manchester City have been in talks with Leicester for several weeks over, over Harry Maguire and all that. But obviously, no fee or no deal yet has come to any kind of agreement. But it did say last week, we had ended our interest in Harry Maguire, because he did say, Leicester wanted around £100 million. But I think they've basically now said, they want in the region of around 80 or £90 million. But we have upped our offer, we've put a £70 million bid in for him. And I think that's reasonable, but, I think, Leicester, demanding more than £70 million for Harry Maguire. But yeah, technically a very, very good player. Holds his line really, really well. Maybe these couple of reservations about him. He hasn't really got much pace Harry Maguire, but, I think, he would be fantastic for Manchester United, and he would improve his, defensively and all that. But he did say, the other week he was keen on making him move to Manchester City, and at one point he did say City were closing in on him. He did say City, he was set to join City in a world record fee for 80 million, but of course I don't think City are willing to pay £80 million for Harry Maguire and all that. But yeah, like I did say at the beginning of the video, Tottenham have confirmed the signing of Tanguy Ndombele and all that. They've got him for around 60 million euros, equates to around 53 million something in pounds sterling. But it did say the fee could rise up to around 70 million euros and all that. He's signed a deal with Tottenham until 2025 and all that. But that's Tottenham's second signing this summer. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.